I'm all the way up, sitting first class. Pedal to the metal, tank full of gas. Can't slow down, I'm moving too fast. Headed back to the county, riding full blast. I'm all the way up, sitting first class. Pedal to the metal, gas on smash. I can't slow down.
Welcome back to another episode of Cypher Outside. Today, I'm going to be taking this piece of steel here and trying to make a bumper for my son Charles. Tomorrow he turns 24 years old. You've seen him on my channel a few times, and I figure I got this welder. I'm gonna make him a bumper for his 4x4, his beloved little Jeep, his T-Rex as he calls it. But anyway, here we go. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. God bless. So what's it called when you build something without plans? I don't know. I call it artistic engineering. Well, there's no plans. This is all in my head, and I'm just going with it. So now that I have in my mind the basic shape and design that I want to do, I'm going to start cutting it out. Basically, I'm just notching out like a little pie-shaped piece on the back and back side of the bumper, just so I can bend it over in the front and make it a little easier, make it a little nicer. This is mild steel, so it's not that difficult to bend. The thing to say about this Jeep is, he bought it for $700, and as you can see from the paint job, it's spent its life as a Jeep. What can I say? Well, because of that, the frame's not square anymore. So even the holes top to bottom, well, there's only one hole on one side of the frame, no holes on the other. So it's been kind of difficult. So everything's going to have to be eyeballed and measured. So the bumper itself can't be completely square. Otherwise, it's going to look funky sitting on a non-square frame. So I'm going to have to make some compensation in some places to make this work out. And that's why I did one side, and now I'm measuring the other side. So here I'm taking my truck strap there and actually bending that to a full degree so I can get the full bend out of it. And also place my tack welds and get that all put together. This way it holds in the position that I want it to be in with the right angle. I really wish I had some better measuring tools to make that angle work out, but I eyeballed it. I used what I could to make sure it was the same, and it looks pretty even. So here I am grinding away the crappy welding job that I am so good at doing. I put just way too much material on when I weld. I'm just still learning with this machine. The wire's not quite right. It's just not quite right the way it's set up, but it's holding the metal together. I got pretty decent penetration. It looks like hell in the little pockets there, but I hit it with a hammer after I welded it just to make sure it stayed together, and it seems to be good. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and hope it all goes well. Here I'm cutting slots into the tube. This way I can insert a piece of 1/4-inch flat plate that's going to go all the way through, bolt solid to the frame, come out to the front, and give me a spot to put some clevis pins. This way, if my welds fail, at least the bumper won't fall down on the ground and have them run it over. It'll just stay there and dangle. And it's also the strongest way if you're going to get pulled out for somebody to hook onto it and they be pulling directly against the frame and not against the bumper. Now, I know it doesn't look all that dark, but I'm really starting to get pushed under pressure for time here. It's about 8:45, 9 o'clock right now. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, it doesn't really get dark until like 9:30. I'm pretty close to the 30th parallel. So consequently, I'm really pushing. So I didn't film a whole lot. So please forgive me. Having these jack stands was crucial to try to line this up because I really needed to get it to stay in one position just so I could start marking it so I could know where I could drill my holes, so I could bolt it to the truck and where to drill my holes in the front for the clevis pin, and to get everything lined up just right so I could only do this once. Because once you cut it, you're over with, and I'll have one piece of nice, strong 1/4-inch steel that I want to save just to do this. So I took some extra time making sure it's all just perfect. Like I said, most of it's got to be eyeballed, and got it all marked out and laid out, and then took it over to drill it. And as I was drilling it, something very unfortunate happened. A good soldier that's been with me now for a few years finally met its match. May it rest in peace as it tried to kill me as it was smoking away. Okay, that's enough of those shenanigans. Let's get back to thinking like a farmer. Now, I got a piece of pipe here I need to bend to make it look right on the top of this bumper, but I don't have a tubing bender. So I looked around and found my trailer here and said, hey, this axle's round. There's heavy things on here. Let me see if I can do this. So as long as you don't get too aggressive when you're bending this pipe, you won't have a problem with it. Manhandling this tube into submission took quite a bit of time, I must say, which is why I want the tubing bender, because this took probably an hour, at least an hour. So by the time I was done with this, it was pretty late, and to weld it on wasn't going to work out. So I just got it ready and waited for the next day. Day 2 starts off rough. I cannot get my welder to penetrate for crap. I've done everything I can. I don't know why it's not doing it, and I just can't figure it out. It's driving me crazy. I'm doing my best. I finally get the sucker to stick, and I'm still kind of skeptical. I give it a bunch of tries, and here I grind it back down. I even welded it again, and then grind it one more time, and you see here I'm testing it, and I pick it up by it all, and I think it's working well, but stick around to the end of the video and see what happens. And right here I'm thinking, cool, I got this. It's the final fit. Looks pretty nice. Yeah. Oh, doggone it. I forgot the end caps. So here I am, welding on the end caps. Get those together, get them all ground down, and then I'll be ready for paint. There was just so much carbon everywhere from the welds and the grinding that I just had to take a wire brush and get rid of all the little loose things, all the little brown marks, and clean it up, and then hit it all with some nice primer and let that dry. While that fast drying primer was drying, I decided to, as Emerald Lagasse would say, take these clevis pens up a notch and paint them with some nice implement red. Sparing no expense, buying the finest black spray paint Walmart could provide, I coated the whole bumper with it. I kind of like how it came out. It's a nice sheen. It gives the Jeep a nice shiny feel.
Shiny, like a treasure from a sunken pirate wreck. Scrub the deck and make it look shiny. I will sparkle.
Using my rope rescue knot tying skills here again, I decide to tie a figure 8 with a loop in there and then hoist this whole thing up a couple feet so I can get underneath it and paint it nicely. A little bit easier anyway. So while all this was drying, I decided to see what I could do about fixing Charles's tailpipe. He tore it off on an adventure a while ago. So I went around the side of the house and found it and realized that it basically would all go back together, with the exception it was missing a bracket, and where it slid into the muffler had about a half-inch gap around 3/4 away around it. So I stuck it in place, welded that in place, pulled down the other bracket there, welded that in place, and then in the back here, I actually just took a piece of angle, welded it to the frame, drilled a couple holes in it, and mounted the existing bracket right to it, and called it good. Getting all this stuff ready for Charles. Man, turn my garage into a gauntlet. I'm trying to get it done before he gets back. You gotta duck under this paint, step over these tools into this spot, look out for the bumper. Better duck low. Get over the toolbox and you're on your way. Finally, time to mount this baby up. Made it really tight so it fits good. Got it into place. Decided that I was going to touch it up one more time with another coat of paint, just to make sure there's no tool marks or any weird looking things, just to give it that perfect look. And while I had the spray can out, I figured I might as well hit these welds, help them keep from rusting. I actually had some primer left over to hit this one. And then for fun, I decided to make everything perfect and use a touch-up brush here and just get these clevis pins right where I scratch them against the bumper, make them look perfect. Here's how I handled the license plate problem. Didn't film how I did it. Too simple. Basically, drill some holes, put a brass hinge in so it doesn't rust, pop riveted it on so nobody can steal the license plate. And this way, if you're rock crawling, it won't get stuck on anything. Pretty cool, eh? Well, there it is. All done. This was a grueling project. A lot more than I thought it was going to be. 24 hours altogether, including the muffler repair. That was only about an hour and a half, so say 2 hours, so 22 hours total to make that bumper. Not a professional. I could have taken another 4 hours and grinded on it some more. But I had to get this done. I only had the weekend to get it done. See, Charles took off with his girlfriend up to Portland for the weekend, so they went up there and she took him to the zoo and they had a good time, went to a concert last night and all that kind of thing. Yes, Portland is open to different things, but their concert was kind of wild. They had 25 by 25 foot square boxes to stand in. So can't wait to hear about that. But anyway, so they're gone and I took this opportunity to grab his Jeep that was sitting here parked in the driveway and build this bumper and fix his exhaust all for his birthday. I really hope he enjoys it because I am beat. Boy, beat. This whole weekend was shot. I just went after it. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot more work than I anticipated. I figured it would take me, the day and I'd have it done and painted and everything sitting and everything waiting to be mounted today. But nope, I'm coming under the wire, buddy. Monster Garage style here. The paint is still wet. You saw me there with a little bit of brush there, just making the finishing touches. Oh goodness, it's been rough. But I hope he enjoys it. It's pretty solid here. If you look at the construction. What I did is I took somebody else's idea, this piece of 1/4 inch steel. It actually goes clean through this tube and bolts straight to the frame there. So if you're pulling on this, you're pulling on the frame, directly on the frame. This way too, if my welds fail, this bumper can't fall off onto the road with this clevis pin on there. And honestly, I put that on there for that one reason. Anyway, the only thing that could fall off is this bar here, which was way more than I anticipated. I don't know what I was thinking about putting this bar in here. The bow's pretty good. You can see here it's got a little bit down on one side, but just a barely. And I don't have a bender. You saw me, I bent this thing up over the trailer and it was a bear, but I got her done. But if I had to do this again, I think I'd buy a tubing bender and do it that way. I think there's a tubing bender in my future because this stuff's really cool to weld. But yep, here it is. So also did this on the ends here where I cut it, put these gussets in and welded over that. And then coming around the end here, there's also another one at the bottom. And then I boxed in the end. So there we go. To talk about the cost for this project, we've got about $100 worth of steel here. We've got about another $30 worth of hardware with the clevis pins and the bolts and whatnot. And then when you add the wire and the grinding wheels and whatnot in there, it's probably another $10. So call it $150 altogether in materials. 22 hours of labor. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. God bless and thanks for watching. Happy birthday.
I see I have a muffler and there's something on my front too.
Yeah. I just put your exhaust pipe back on.
Is it like secured though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's legit. I'll show you pictures on it later, but
Cool, you know what's funny? I was just thinking about this earlier and I was finally deciding on a shape.
be honest, dude, I hope you like it, dude.
It's exactly the shape I was gonna tell you to go with.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like, honestly I just want a little curve. And the bar is a bonus. That thing's badass. You even got little red clippy clips. Are those rated?
Yeah.
So we can rappel off my Jeep?
Yeah.
Damn!
It's also connected straight to the frame.
You bolted it right on?
That piece of 1/4 inch that's on there. It goes straight through the tube and goes right onto the frame and bolts right to the frame.
Fuck yeah.
This way, if my welds fail, at least your bumper won't fall off the vehicle. It'll just dangle right there because of those.
I don't gotta worry about hitting deer anymore, dude.
Yeah. Now, you know, I'm learning to weld still, so hopefully this holds together well.
Who gives a fuck?
You know? The only thing I'm worried about is that pipe across the front. I was carrying it around by it, so it holds pretty well. Oh, well, there we go.
You were worried about it, so I had to
I was just about to say it's for ornamental purposes only, but okay. It looks like I'll have to put that back on. I did it in a big
figured
hurry.
I'd test it because, you know, I didn't pull that hard on that. And if I hit a branch, I'd rather I did it now because they'd be lost in the woods.
So that's why I put those red things on the front in case my welds fail. It won't fall off on the road. It was a part of the design.
I like it either way. But that's what I was going to ask you for right there.